I'm going to call the meeting to order at 5:30. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I see we have a couple of people signed up here to visit with the board. Shelby?
Yeah, I'm here to discuss my contract, and I'm not sure if I should proceed in the open forum, or if that should go into executive session.
I would say executive session at the end. Okay.
I think that that matter was already discussed and finalized last spring, so why are we bringing it back? So I had asked for a vote of the board.
Anybody else have?
Well, just if I may comment, I guess, before any kind of request or approval, has the chain of command been done? Has it come
Yes.
through the proper channels to this point? I guess.
Yes, in fact, Sandra, when we talked about it, had said no, but according to the public participation, she can come and ask the whole board to vote. And that's where we're at right now. Because so it wasn't put on the agenda, it's up for a vote before the board. And if a majority of the board wants to hear it in executive session, then it will be put on for executive session. That's where it's at right now.
I guess in response to that, I guess it's in the sense that it's saying that we've discussed the matter, and I don't take it as that we have, because
Okay.
that's just me saying that
Yeah.
all I know is a request has been made by an individual request executive session with the board.
What do you think, Linda?
If she just wants us to listen, I'm willing to listen.
Laverne?
Only if the superintendent is in with it on the discussion.
It's for salary, so I can't do anything to remedy it. It's for a salary discussion, to increase the salary.
Melissa?
No.
No. No? Okay.
I guess mine was a yes if that was it. but-
Yes and yes and 2 noes. Yes, I feel like the contract was signed at the amount that was offered, and probably my vote will be no. And Sam, you want to go into executive session? That will be at the end then? Okay. 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 On to the consent agenda.
To adopt the agenda, I'm gonna make a motion to pull 81A out separately, 81D out separately, 81G out separately, 81I, 8 to not be until after executive session.
What was it again?
81A separately, 81D separately, 81G separately, and 81I, item 8, until after executive session, because we're meeting with that employee, so we shouldn't act on it until
Correct.
after executive session. And also with the addition is my motion.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, item number 5, celebrate success in the district.
Well, there's so many, it seems like. I don't know if you got my mailing. We've only been to school in session 11 days, and as I look around and see everything that's happening in the classrooms, athletically, academically, there are some really good things happening in this district that I thought we should recognize. Something I noted when I went to a few of the parent nights is that they were so well attended in comparison to years previous, which was exciting to see. So I just wanted to make sure that we recognized that as a success. Also, I just feel like in the teachers and the reports back from administration has been so positive with what they're seeing in the classroom and how engaged the students are in learning. And before, we didn't see that as much. And so that's a really positive thing for us to see. And also, I wanted to honor those participants, and they're listed on the agenda as an attachment, and for them completing the summer honors program at ERA. And we have the second highest participation out of that camp in Europe. That's that 3-week camp that they go to, out of that camp, for them to be able to participate in that and to complete that. So I wanted to honor those participants. There are going to be posters printed that have their pictures and their names that we will display around the school that all of the kids have participated in. So, which is a nice event for them. So just wanted to recognize those things.
Okay. Skelton.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I just did a little recap of like the number of kids we have currently and some other stuff that's going on. So in birth to 3, we have 21 students there. And then in the 3 preschools in Mission, Rosebud, and Hedog, we have 57 kiddos. So between those 2 programs and pretty much the same staff, handle that caseload. There's 68 students. We have 2 certified preschool teachers, so that's a pretty heavy caseload. And then we have 1 certified person kind of transitioning and doing some help. So with some of the changes with certification last year. We have 350 active IEPs. Last year for our child count, it was 347. And as you've been told, we're having an on-site review. The state will be here October 18th through the 20th. And so they require us to do a lot of prep work. So the front and the last page of all 347 IEPs that were on the count on December 1st, 2016 have been copied and mailed to the site review overseer, Christine Owen. And we're doing a few other things. We have to look up each certified staff and if they did an initial eval or a re-eval, because they want to review one with each staff person, which is interesting because we have 4 staff gone, so I don't know what they're going to do with those. But we're working to get that ready for them. And we're currently short 6 certified staff, although I had a inquiry by a married couple that are interested in coming, but not till after the holiday break. So they did submit their application. I looked at that today, and I sent them an email encouraging them to do that after we got the salary adjusted on the website, because it had been wrong and posted at $32,000. So comprehensive plan was sent in. We have to do that along with the signatures sheet so they can look at that before they come down and do our on-site review. And because of our shortage in staff, anyone who's been here 2 years or longer is helping out. So a lot of people are stretched really thin. So if you've been with us for a while, you're maybe doing Rosebud, Oak Creek Incline is an example. You may be doing Rosebud and a private school. You may be doing the elementary school in Littlebird. So we've really got people stretched thin, and their caseloads are as big as they've ever been. So I asked admin last week to really be supportive and understanding, the support staff, because they're very stressed. I've had them come in. One person that you would never think was able to cry has already cried this year. So, and the good news, the really good news, is the air conditioning is finally working, and the preschool did not have to work in a 90-degree classroom today. And that's the first time since the roof was repaired. Any questions?
Sounds like a busy start.
Very busy, yes.
Thanks, Carol.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Miss Marlis.
Hey, good evening to everyone. And again, just there's been a lot going on at Rosebud. We have students and staff engaged in their learning and teaching. Schedules are in place, curriculums are in place, with a little bit of tweaking going on daily. And we did have our first celebration of our school attendance. We had some Zuzu acrobats from Kenya come. And again, I do feel a picture is worth 1,000 words. So I would just like you to gaze upon. And we, again, have Shanae, our volunteer at our school. And she has helped us immensely, not only on our float. And we're not sure, rumor has it, we don't know who got first at the homecoming float, so if anybody has that information, I don't know.
Do they give awards for that?
I don't know.
I heard it was high school teacher assistants got first. They
Did
called
they?
and told me anyway.
Wonderful.
They were pretty proud.
Oh, yes, okay. So as we go through it, and Shanae is, you'll also see the students and the staff having a great time as you go through this. And if we want to fast forward through some of it, we sure can, but it's 2 to 3 minutes, I think. Yeah, but if you have any questions, this is the Zuzu acrobats that were here. They had the kids do the limbo, and they also had the staff do the limbo, and the kids thought that was pretty good, and the staff was troopers. We also had Lakeview come, and we basically told the kids we were just having a celebration, so they had to come to school every day. They didn't know when it was occurring. Yeah, so it was a pretty fun time. We'll see Julie, Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown. And the kids were cheering their teacher on. We have some of our new staff being troopers. There's a couple of our new teachers. It was also Superhero Day. It was kind of a tough task. They were there though, and the kids cheered them on. And if you can see, the students are quite engaged. They asked for volunteers, and the students were definitely exhibiting bravery. Many of them volunteered to help out, and there's this one little girl, kindergarten girl. She was like, I wanted to do it. I was like standing there, I was like, oh, are you sure you want to do it? Are you sure you want to do it? I'm nervous, and yeah. We incorporated morning recess now, so instead of sitting in the gym waiting for school to start, kids get to go out and move around. And one little boy told me today, we were talking about why he was having such a good year, and he said, one of the reasons, Miss Morales, is because I get to go out and play in the morning. So, and I think that's really crucial. And he also said, you know, he does the same thing every day in his class, so that schedule also has really helped him with his behavior. We're doing a great job of teaming this year with our ex-ed staff and general ed staff, just working their schedules out to assist in the classroom, and it's made a huge impact with many of our students to have that extra support in there, carrying out that curriculum at their level. And we too have had some issues with air conditioning. Some of them look quite hot. This is our float. That again, it's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Super Falcon. It took many hands to come up with. And again, you'll see Shanae, our volunteer, helping us out. Is that you, Mr. Hammer? One of our teachers created with all the different components of our curriculum. She made a poster so that she can visually see each of the components and what lesson she's on. The garden is in full bloom. We have a huge pumpkin. The kids are like, can we pick it? Can we pick it? All the flowers. The fourth grade class, or the fifth grade class, painted rocks and hid them on the playground, just like everybody needs a rock. So again, it was, kids were always bringing them in. Look what I found, Miss Marlis. Where did this come from? And yeah, just a lot of good things going on. Any questions?
Sounds like there's a lot of good things going on.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Is the blue spruce still in front of the school?
Is the what?
The tree?
It is.
That was to commemorate 9/11. I'm glad it's still there.
Yep, and it is flourishing. That last year, at the end of the year, the kids had a picnic under it. So, yep, it provides that much shade. And also our janitors. I know Dr. Whitney stopped by, and it was the janitors who took it upon themselves. You know, it was all white, and so they painted the doors green and the shutters and the trim, and it just looked very attractive. So again, it's definitely a team effort,
One of the things I noticed in the gym, there's a lot of paws on the wall, the border. Before that, there were Native American designs on there. I don't know why it was taken down, but I think we need to remember that the majority of students down there are Native American, and they should identify themselves as Native Americans and not as a hunter.
Yeah, and I agree totally. And one of the things that we're incorporating this year is the Ochetti Shakopee team. And so we just met today. And again, we have a phrase of the month. So in August, our phrase was Hihani Wash Day. And September, okay, I'm going to try. It's kind of a and Petu Wash Day Yuha Ye. And so that is have a good day. So every month, we're just going to keep building on that. And then for our month of September, we're doing the numbers. So Carmen Blackwolf came, and we have some great resources there with Claudette and Carmen and Mr. Brown and Oyate. And so we're all, today at our staff meeting, we were practicing the phrase, and we're going to get it, and the numbers too. So, and many parents have already commented that they just really appreciate that. So I definitely understand what you're saying, and hopefully we can work on that. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Linda.
Any other questions? No? Okay, we're going to backtrack a little bit here. We have another person who would like to address the board in open session. Mr. Medeiros?
Roddy that don't know me, I'm Miles. Scalbert, I see you. My poor little baby got stabbed by a dirty needle at our school today. And I don't know how to be tough. She got stabbed in her arm. I watched her cry. And I had to hold her down so they could draw her blood. I just wanted to come up and, speak my mind. I spoke to the lady earlier. She said that, Mila picked it up and poked herself. Kids go out on the playground and they play. Like you said, kids love to be on the playground. I don't feel that our kids should be dealing with nothing like this. If you need to add anything, I'm mad.
Hi, school board. My name is Michael Linderman, and Mila is my daughter. She attends school at Cadell Elementary. I got a phone call about 12:30 today, and was told that she got poked on the finger by a needle on the finger. And usually I'm pretty good about this type of stuff, but it freaked the heck out of me. And so, we're not asking for any, quick fixes or anything like that, but to make those of you aware of this. We all know that meth is a huge, enormous problem here on Rosebud. And we can't control who uses our playgrounds, we can't control who's on there, but we can develop a plan or come up with some type of ideas or suggestions to prevent this from happening. And to me, it doesn't matter what type of needle it was. It's the fact that it was a needle. And we have to go back in to do follow-up blood work. And to traumatize my daughter again is something that is very hard for me because she don't like needles. And so, I have the report that the school wrote up and all that information. But what happened was she was playing by the monkey bars and she seen a marker, a purple marker, she said. And there was a white thing laying next to it that she thought was the lid to the marker. And she picked it up and it then poked her in the finger. But it's too early, to tell with the blood work. It's too early for them to see anything in there. God forbid that there's something there. So we have to follow up and do more blood work. But, I don't know, is there anything in policies or anything like that as far as cleanup of playgrounds or if there isn't, is there something that can be proposed for that or,
Usually the custodians are.
Every other school has prison bars and metal detectors, everything around there. How come we can't protect our kids out there, It's scary, you know, this school is based on discipline. I thought it was supposed to be for education and learning our kids, not bars and all this stuff. These kids don't even want to come back to school half the time, you know? I'm just really upset. I hope you guys all see, you know, poor little girl has to get stabbed twice, not just once, twice. I just very upset, and I thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Miles and Micah. We will take it into consideration and let you know. Okay?
It will be a discussion item
Yes.
on what we can do.
And I mean, and you guys know me, and I will follow up with to what those discussions are, or what ideas or plans that are put forth. But it's not just the fact that it happened to my daughter. I don't want it happening to anybody. And it's very scary, you know, so I just wanted to bring that to your guys' attention, and it's very, very scary because of everything. I work for the tribal health program, and I see the rates and the Hep C and the HIV and the STDs going up. I see those numbers, and they are skyrocketing. So, you know, I am a little alarmed. But thank you for your time, and I'll be in contact, and I will follow up. Thank you, Rosie.
We have another person signed up that wants to go into executive session. Kelly, that will be after the meeting. Okay.
I think that,
What's that for?
that this,
Pardon me.
What's that for?
the status of agreement.
It's not finished yet. Is it finished? The timeline's not up. The
Okay,
timeline's not up.
we can tell her that
Yeah.
in executive session.
In regards to the playground issue, I think that we need to have a discussion sooner rather than later about some ideas. Because I'm sure it's not just He Dog's playground that experiences that. We have playgrounds all over the whole community, and something needs to be addressed on. Is there a way to check them daily or morning, or, you know, those little metal things that pick all the, well, there's big magnet things you carry around and it sucks up all the stuff. I don't know. What, Bus Shop, do you have any ideas of?
No, the only thing that I would say is that one must have been pretty obvious because she's seen it. The quickest solution would be to have somebody walk the playground, but you're talking about.
Acres of playground.
And
That's a big
The
playground.
big issue is that you can clean it after school, but who's gonna be there at 7 in the morning to do it again? Because you go out here every night, that playground behind the elementary school is full of people, every night. So,
Well,
my
when I drive on
suggestion
the
would be
weekends is
to
that
shut
they're,
them off. That would be my suggestion, because they're school property. I don't know what Tim would say, he may agree with that, he may not. But I would shut them off.
there might need to be a discussion that we need to have sooner rather than later to come up with a solution. Just because that is dangerous for bloodborne pathogens for anybody to get stuck.
One AIDS case from the needle and you'll never forgive yourself.
Exactly, and such a small child, so something needs to be done. So can we come up with some ideas or something before our next meeting, or, because I don't think it should wait for like 2 or 3 months of.
Probably need to have that discussion with the principals and what they're seeing on their playgrounds and what they do and how they police it too, to start with that. We can start with that discussion, what they're doing to monitor the grounds and who are the people responsible to check it and how often do they check it.
So will we have a plan back by our next board meeting? I'm not to address it.
October 10th? No, we're on
28.
Yeah, we can visit about it.
Madam Chair, maybe I could ask the superintendent and her staff, administrative staff, to, right away tomorrow, maybe, start doing kind of inspections or take a look at the situations let's don't wait too,
Wait till there's a plan.
Yeah.
let's kind of like
Start policing.
asking right now for our staff to be concerned also.
And maybe do some education with our kids about picking
Right.
some stuff up, even though it looks like a marker or it looks like a rock or it looks like this, ask an adult before.
You will meet with the admin on
Wednesday morning.
You address that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, superintendent's report.
Charles, these scores were just released, and now they're public information for the ACT scores. And I'll just let you know that in our situation, which is a little bit unique, all of our students take the ACT, not just those that are planning on going to college. And so there is a downside to that because you have students not interested in taking in the test, not wanting to take the test. They're not planning on going to college, and so they probably are not into trying very hard on that test. Okay, so
So is that going to skew this information?
that will always skew what it would do for our students that are ready for college. So I had this discussion, I have some recommendations for that. Our top students, right now, we have recognized that their ACT scores are still not where they should be, according to the classes that they are taking. If they're Regents, they're taking AP Cal, their ACT score should be in the 30, and they just aren't there. So I think we need to make sure that our content classes for those college-bound kids, they are rigorous at the level that they should be for a high school class, that they are not dummied down in any way, shape, or form. And I'm not saying all of them across the board, but for those kids that are on that college pathway, we need to make sure that the instruction level will prepare them to have success in college. We need to make it optional. The parents have a permission. They can say, yes, my child will take it, if that's their right, if they're under 18, or the child doesn't want to take it. I've had a few parents contact me at the high school upset because they were made to take the test, and which means that their scores aren't very high. Those scores don't go away. They are reported. So say a few years later, a child changes their mind, and they do, and they get into, I think I'm ready, I want to go to college, they've still got those other ACT scores. Why not wait until they say, I'm ready, I'm engaged, and then take the ACT? So that would be the reasoning of not testing all of the kids. Now, we have to use a measurement. The state says we can use the AccuPlacer test, which is a more generalized test, which indicates the same thing for state accountability, college and career ready, but it's more general. So I visited with Mr. Shipley about us moving to that be the all play. We all take that test for state accountability. The ACT is used for students that are planning on college. Also with that, I think we need to have, and we've started this ACT prep classes for students choosing to take the ACT, because in a lot of our schools, it's very competitive, and that ACT score is very important, way more important than grades a lot of time. And so high schools recognize that and provide those ACT classes for students who want to take them. We need to counsel early with students in their high school career, even starting in middle school, so we make sure they're in the coursework that prepares them for college for ACT scores. We also need to have discussions with parents and involve them in that discussion about taking the ACT test, what it is, would the parents want them to, if their child is not college bound, or they would opt out of taking that ACT test, but they should have that information before they make a decision. Something else that I think we need to use more of, and I'm going to show you this. This comes from maps, and I have more examples in the back. This is a sample. Pass those down. This is a made-up student profile that the test company provides. And even though this is the map, there are a lot of normed studies done outside of just what this MAPS test gives us on this continuum. So on this, you can see the big blue is highlighted, so they're only talking about blue for this student. He's a 7th grade student. So it gives the comparison about all the other students that took this test. He's in the 92nd norm percentile, but right underneath that, there's a category. It predicts how they're going to do on the state test. And when we see one for our student, it predicts what they're going to get on the Smarter Balance. And it has been so accurate, spot on, and sometimes sad. So you know, if they're just going to make 1 year's growth, they're going to be at the same level or not at the level we want on the Smarter Balance test. We need to kick it up. We need to get some intervention going. It also predicts, because of all the studies involved, where they're on track for what kind of ACT score. So I'm thinking this kind of information needs to be shared with parents during parent-teacher conferences, because it gives them the idea of where is my child and what track are they on, even in their future, or do we need to pick it up a bit because they are way off track, and I didn't know that. Because our parents judge things by, I'm in 7th grade, I'm in 8th, I'm in 9th, and that means something. But it doesn't mean necessarily that they're prepared to go on and to be successful at college. And I think another thing that we need to do, you know, see these scores up there? You see a 248, a 219, a 215, a 209. I mean, what is that? Does that mean something to you? Doesn't really, does it? Because it doesn't coordinate any to you with anything. Because they do it on a scale from 1 to 300 through K-12. But they have references that show you what grade level bands those are in. And so the parents need to know the information. If I have a 248 in math, actually what grade level band, where am I at in grade level, okay? They may have a 219 in reading. What is that? Oh, it corresponds to 5th grade reading. Hey, but what? I'm a 7th grader. The parents need to understand what the assessments we have are telling the parents about where their kids are. And I think if we give them this true information, not just the grade level, because we've passed them into a grade level, this is really where your child is, and this is why we need you to be involved with us in the school. And we need support, and they need to read at home, and we need your help. I think that a lot of parents would become more engaged in the school based on the individual need of their child and what they were seeing in a profile. So this is the one that's done for math for this student, and it breaks down their strengths in math. And another one would be for reading. We don't do science and language arts, so we just do math and reading. So a parent would actually get 2 reports, one for math, one for reading. That would give them a lot of information, how they're doing now, what they're on track to do in the spring for the state test, or when they take that ACT when they're ready as a junior. So they start tracking the ACT when a student, their 6th grade test is when I notice they start tracking it. They have the norms that they can make that comparison. And what we've come across when we've checked it, it's really a good predictor. It's really giving us that information. So I just wanted to show this, and I want to encourage our administrators to do this with our teachers as we prepare for parent-teacher conferences, because this kind of information helps parents understand and guide their children in what they want them to do. And I don't think that we have done a good job of giving teachers that and parents that kind of information and that kind of data so they can make good choices. So, and I think parents will appreciate that. The interesting thing also is 1% of the students that took all the tests out of the 93, 1% of the TC students tested met the benchmark scores for all 4 college courses to be ready. That's a pretty low, really low percent. So it's like only 1% of our students was ready to take college biology, college social science, college algebra, and college English composition. So I think some of the rigor in the courses has to be kind of beefed up for those kids. We need to challenge them. So do you have any questions about ACT, any input?
So they're gonna use the AccuPlacer this year? Is that what I'm hearing?
George?
High school?
George? Correct?
Well, yeah, we can utilize it. But we also, just from today's discussion with our BLT, have come across some problems. We've come across the problem that when we send this waiver home to parents, we're gonna have to point out to them that they need to get a state ID for their students. Because the test that we give on campus, we give to every student. But when you go to the testing centers after our test, they do not accept, our understanding, tribal IDs. Which they should have, but they don't, but they didn't. So we're gonna have to make sure the parents are aware of that. That they're gonna need state IDs. And we will, from that, the people who waive out, we'll give them the other test.
The AccuPlacer.
Yes.
But they have until their senior year to take, I think both my kids took it their senior year, they took it in the fall. If they weren't happy with it, then they could retake it in the spring.
Right, because the ACT does not average out scores.
No,
They'll take your highest score.
yeah. And so they still have that option their senior year
Yes,
to take it.
They can take their sophomore, junior, senior.
true.
And you can take it as many times as you want.
And I thought it was state law now that tribal IDs were accepted, and that's why Rosebud
Yeah,
updated their tribal
To
IDs.
be honest, our kids went over to Winter, and this is what I'm thinking of. We took a bus load over because for some reason we couldn't get a test in our establishment. So we took a bus over there, and before the kids got on the bus, the day before, we asked, do you have IDs? Otherwise, we can create one and then stamp it and send it over. We've done that in the past, and we all said, yep, we got it. We have an ID.
So
And it
we'll
might have
verify.
been the older tribal ID, you have to go and get the new one
Sure,
now.
sure.
And that's something you should because I still have the old one, I couldn't use it as a state ID, but if I would go and get a new one, I could use it as a state ID.
gotta have
Because they
the
have to
picture
have
on
an expiration date on it, and they also have the little holographic pictures and stuff on them now too.
Yeah,
So they
I'm
are
sure they're there.
acceptable anywhere, the newer ones are.
Any other
I
questions?
had anything about that, and then I also had put on the latest revision to the organizational chart, if you had any with that. I know I showed it to you before, but I made a few little boxes around. Anybody had anything on that?
Not at the moment.
Linda?
Where's the dean of students that over here? So who does the dean of students at the high school?
That's, the high school dean of students is underneath George and the
It's
administration.
not on there. It's not on there.
Do we have that position?
We have a high school dean of students, yeah. Brett Whitehouse.
Oh, we just did it.
It's not on there.
Oh.
Okay. Any other questions on the?
Oh, Whitehouse.
I have nothing else.
No.
Onward then to the consent agenda, and we will pull out.
I move on all of them except 818, 81D, 81G, 81I, 8 for separate motions, but all of the rest I move.
By Melissa, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Linda. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll move on 818 so that it can go to discussion.
I'll second. I know there, if I may go ahead and ask the question. I know we got a corrected version, but I do have kind of a question or so concern on the H, which it was, the original motion was to accept a certified contract resignation with liquidated damages, and into kind of the discussion among the board, I don't think that was kind of the process that we went through. There was some suggestion about amended motion before the original motion was looked at, and I think our process of the way it ended up, well, I don't know if it was, we did everything through the correct format or so, and so I just want to bring it out that I think that we need to look at how we went through that, just for furthering advice, because I don't think that actually says what the discussion and the talk and stuff was about. And unless the rest of the board has a different opinion, but I do think we voted twice on one motion or something, or recalled a vote, and I don't see that anymore. So that's just all I wanted to say about that.
I just also want to say, going back to our training with Dr. Royer, for those who went through several trainings with him, that we are allowed to make a new motion out of discussion. If there was something that would have came up in the discussion with Dr. Whitney's report, we are allowed to make a motion, whether it be on the agenda published or not. Out of any discussion, we are allowed to make a motion. I'd just like that.
Okay, I have a motion by Melissa, second by Laverne. All in favor?
Yes.
No.
Okay. 8.1D.
I'll move.
Moved by
Second.
Melissa, seconded by Linda. All in favor?
Yes.
Don't you want some discussion?
I'd like a little bit of discussion on this one before you call the vote. Chad, what is this admission fee? What is this? What do we usually get in a school year's time? Average?
About $15,000.
And where does it go?
General fund.
General fund?
So what
It's a
is it?
separate revenue account within the general fund budget right now.
So what does that usually go to, like, pay for? Like, what account do paying, like, all our official fees, all of that come out of?
Well, everything's general, so I mean, it gets spelled out in a budget, which will get approved at the end of the month. But that, along with state aid, along with impact aid, along with all the revenue sources, and then we create an expenditure budget. So it's really hard to say that it supports one thing or another.
So it would only be students who would get this, so are we gonna have student ID so that when people come in the door, you know who's a student of Todd County and who's not a student of Todd County? Or will all
Well, is it student, I guess,
students be open
to get it
for-
clarified, is it high school student?
We only want a high school student, so we know who our high school student is.
That's not fair to the other students within the school district to just single the high school students out as
For
getting
high school
that
activities.
for high school activities.
So if the middle school has sporting activities, and if they want to charge their students, then they can do that. We were just trying to increase the amount of student engagement within our school. Because currently, students that aren't highly engaged in the school, they don't come to these activities. So we're trying to encourage them to come and be a part of the school. And that improves graduation rates, attendance rates, it reduces behaviors, when students are engaged in the school.
Do you charge a fee in middle school?
No, we do not.
So it's
And we
just-
don't charge at the elementary level either.
No.
The only thing that we have revenue off of is the concession stand, which supports the student council on the concession stand. I guess I don't agree with that, but that's not a.
I don't agree that it's just to the high school students. What about all the other students? Because what if little brother and little sister want to come and they can't afford to come, but the big brother and big sister get to come?
Well, I was just pointing this out when you were talking about the amount of revenue we were generating. We weren't trying to significantly reduce revenue because we only asked for high school students. But if you want to open it up to be every student, we don't have a problem with that. We don't have a problem with that at all.
Then now it'd be even more money.
Well, I'm not sitting here arguing from a money standpoint at all.
Well, I
just think
kind
it
of,
needs to be
because I'm
clarified.
charged with being fiscally responsible for our school district.
I just know in July at the organizational meeting every year, we brought forward gate receipts that were approved. So if there's any change, we need board approval. Now, is that for all students then? Is that just county students, so that when you have other,
That's why, yeah, how are we gonna know?
How are you gonna know? That's what I said. How are you going to,
But we know who all of our students are. But we were planning possibly down the line to do student IDs. But
are you gonna know all the elementary students in all of the schools and all of the middle school age students in all of our schools?
Well, again, just to point out, our athletic events, if we're already saying we're not the middle schools and elementary schools have significantly more athletic events when you add them all together than we do. So you're already missing that revenue. Okay, so if you want us, if you're saying we're generating $15,000 a year, I will tell you that probably more than half of that are the adults, which will not change. They will still be coming to the games. So we again.
So there would be no such thing as a student pass anymore where the kids would come in and buy an activities pass, because this would null and void the activities pass for
We don't have
students.
those.
Students have the opportunity to come in and purchase an activities pass. If you look in the policy and you look in your book, Mr. Shipley, you would know that.
Well, since I've taken over, I have not seen that happen. So again, that's another activity that's went by the wayside that we should be looking at and correcting at the high school. We can definitely do that. But since I've been at the high school for less than a year now, I've never seen that.
There used to be a time those were given out as an incentive to students also for tickets and things, then they could earn a student activity pass. And it was used as an incentive. That's just,
and ultimately unfortunately, the board couldn't waive for region events. Once you,
Right.
because that's the South Dakota High School Activities Association that manages that.
If you go away, you have to pay.
That's what I'm saying. When we host a regional event, there will be a charge that will have to be charged. Because that's a requirement of the state. I just wanted to make sure everyone
Yeah,
understood
and
that.
we did that last year when we hosted the girls' regional basketball game. There was charges.
And
So again,
travel.
there are things that over the years, with the changes of administrators, have been lost. Policies that haven't been followed. And this activity pass is definitely one of them. So that's something we'll jump into tomorrow to make sure it starts happening again.
Madam Chair, if I may direct a couple questions. First one would be to Mr. Brodsky would be, if we're not getting some of, let's just say this 15,000, then we have to look how this is going to get replaced on our revenue somewhere, right?
Right.
And so we got to figure out,
Right, and I'll go through and adjust the budget accordingly.
you'd have to adjust the budget. I guess, to my opinion, I think maybe it's a good suggestion, proposal coming from the high school, but I think we as the board and the administration have to look at the overall picture of the numbers of students, the involvement. If you charge some, you don't charge some others. You don't, students from another school, you make them pay, but so I think we need to visit a little bit more about that. That's my opinion. I think that there should be some other further discussion other than this recommendation,
I agree with
Yeah.
Laverne.
Do you want
I do
to
too.
rescind your motion then?
I guess. Well, but
We could just vote it down and come up with a new motion
Okay.
for further discussion.
Okay.
So you have to
Motion by
call the vote.
Melissa, seconded by Linda. All in favor? 0. Opposed?
Yes. And then I would like to ask at this time that this become a discussion item with board and administration input on how to better carry this out if this is something we're serious about before it comes back for a vote.
Okay. That will be on the next. All right. Item 8.1G.
I'll move for discussion.
I'll second.
Moved by Melissa, seconded by Laverne.
I guess I asked for a little understanding of that, just to, now, just for the record, did we did the board offer this position, or does the superintendent still have authority to offer this position? And had we done that in the past? Did we, if anybody remembers? Otherwise, I guess part of my other question would be, is the superintendent still authorized to offer contracts for certified staff for the board? And how long does that period go? Yeah, that would,
We renewed it every year. We renewed it every annual.
for the whole year?
That's what we did last time.
Okay, if that's what you're saying, is in, it's been approved for this year, all the way? That was done after July, or during July?
It was done before July.
Okay, but that's,
When the annual date came up, I think it's in February, March, somewhere on there, is when it kicked over again, because we wanted to renew it, and we didn't think it was for the whole time. So we just renewed it at that board meeting.
I know, okay. I just know I have some experience that we done it a different way before, and that's what I'm checking on now is, the rest of the board knows that the superintendent has the authority to offer, and all the board does is enter.
So just a little back history on that for you, Lauren. We did that because then the superintendent sends a team out to do teacher recruitment, and it's pretty quick and you can't wait for a board meeting to do those offers. You gotta act on them right away. So then she's in contact with her team that are out at these teacher fairs, and they go through and they decide, and she says, yes, go ahead and make the offer. Then the enter comes back. But when they are given a contract at these, it specifically says, there's a little note, letter that gets attached that this is not, it still has to be acted upon the board. It's just an offer with but the board still has to act upon it. It's not a binding contract at that time. They're just making the offer.
I appreciate the information, but yes, I was aware of that.
Okay. Okay, motion by Melissa, seconded by Laverne. All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, those were-
I'll just add to that too, and part of the process with that offer, we do check all the references, and if something comes back that you didn't realize in the moment, and this happened, I think, twice last year, I came to the board and said, I know that they're offered, and I do not want you to approve because we discovered something that wouldn't be good for our district in the investigation or something.
Okay, we need a motion then to go into executive session. Moved by Melissa. Second by Deb. Any Saban?
Yes.
Yes.
6:29. Or should we take a 5-minute break?
You
Yes, let's take it back.
6:35. All in favor? Yes.
What is